So what do you reckon's going on back home?
Mom and Dad would be just having a smoke and a beer. I just want to get out of here and forget all this.
It appears the enemy knows exactly what he's doing. One company will move out beyond the wire, patrol east where the enemy mortars came from.
Delta is the best company in the battalion.
If there is something out there, we will find it.
They're up against an entire battalion out there.
That's 700 or 800 men.
We're not gonna make it, are we?
I just want to get out of here, get married, and forget all this.
How can we trust you now?
11 platoon is dead.
Reinforcements available.
You are again ordered to return to base.
We all come back or no one does. Get us ammo on the choppers now!
You reckon we're going to get shot down?
Honestly? Yep. You bloody beauty. Stay strong. Protect your mates. Your Delta company.
I would work in Australia every single job if it was available.
It's just, yeah. I mean,
We all want to work in Australia.
absolutely. The crews are great. The experience is great. Everyone's professional, down to earth, no nonsense. It's great working here.
Get to do an Aussie accent.
Yeah, exactly. That makes life a bit easier sometimes. But it's my first Australian story, and so for this to be my first Australian story, I couldn't have asked for a more poignant and more important one. So I'm very proud that this is the first story I've got to tell of an Australian experience. So that was one of the reasons that I jumped on it as soon as I read the script. I thought the script was amazing. Creve, the director's a great director, and then just the fact that I could be a part of telling this story, which is so important, that has been waiting to be told for 50 years. I think it was an honour and a privilege to be a part of this movie, just a small part of it.
I've never met an Aussie actor that wouldn't rather be here working, you know. Maybe there's a bit more opportunity. Just, what is there now, 22 million people?
22, 23, yeah.
You know, it's just hard to make enough projects here, you know. But we all love being here. We'd all rather be working here. You know?
And when one comes up, you hope it's really good.
Yeah.
You hope all the elements, all the stars align when it comes to that.
And you hope nobody else takes it, you know.
Yeah.
If there's a role, you're like, God, I hope that he doesn't take this role, you know. It's just very Australian, and I think the film's all about mateship. And we all got on very well. We were staying up there in Kingaroy, and
it's hard not to get on board with everyone.
yeah, especially with a story like this too. It's a weird. We don't have the experience of drawing. There's 20-year-old kids forced to go over there, watch their friends get, you know, killed next to them, protecting their friends next to them, and just trying to survive and get back to their families. But I think the 4 hours, especially that this movie shows, us just mates trying to protect their mates who's next to them and just trying to survive, you know. At 20 years old,
yeah.
mate.
And you know, when the only way you're going to get through it is with
Together.
teamwork and together, it's not hard to kind of get involved in that. You know, the closest thing you can come to it is maybe, you know, if you're in sports teams or something like that. You know, that's about the closest you could come to, but it's still a million miles away from the experience that these guys have. But it's a similar thing that way, you know. Also, when you're dealing with such poignant, important story matter and such you know, this is 4 hours of these guys' lives 50 years ago, and it's affected them every day since. So when you get that perspective of that's what we're doing here, everyone kind of leaves any hint of an ego at the door, and you're just in there to try and tell the truth and try and do justice to these blokes who, as Trev said, 20 years old, got sent over there kind of against their will and had to survive. And so, you know, when you wake up every morning and boil it down to that, it's pretty easy to get along with everyone and you know, make this movie about, as Trav said, you know, mateship, standing by your mate and just trying to get through it.
And you hear the fellas talk, the real fellas, and it's like they tell the story like it was very recent. You know, it's just so fresh in their brain, in their mind still, and We're just so lucky not to have experienced it ourselves. No, mates' dads and that, but
Mates, yeah. My father was he was 20 years old and 66, and his birthday didn't get pulled out of the barrel, so he was fortunate that way. But he's got mates that went, and you know, it affected them obviously, and their experiences like war affects anyone who goes in that way. So yeah, you know, I got family friends that were involved in it and stuff like that, but no, nothing. Thankfully, nothing. You know, you make a movie like this, every war movie is an anti-war movie, and that's what you want with this movie. You want people to see how awful it is. I mean, that beautiful things can come from it, but at the end of the day, it's a terrible, terrible thing that humans should never, ever do again.
And it's good to bring awareness to the younger generations that really don't know nothing about Vietnam or the war, and, you know, or what their grandparents did.
I mean, even the blokes these days, we were lucky enough to work with a bunch of Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. They were all the extras in the film. This company
and worked on the film. Worked as a crew.
Yeah, worked
as
on
well.
the film. Worked on. They built the whole camp at Nui Dat. These Iraq and Afghanistan veterans for no money, just went in there and just came in for a number of weeks and filled sandbags and built the whole set and made it look fair dinkum and accurate. And they put in so much work that way. And so when you work with those guys, you get a bit of perspective on, you know, what sacrifice is and what mateship is, and also seeing them together. I remember we went out and had a beer with them at, Palm Beach RSL up there in the Gold Coast, and one of their mates came in that they hadn't seen for a few years, and to watch them kind of see each other for the first time in a few years after they'd been over in Afghanistan, it was heartwarming in a beautiful way to see their bond, to see the way that they, you know, the bond that you obviously get if you're in an experience like that is something that you can't have any other way. So just to see those boys, it just put everything into perspective for you. It makes it easy to let go of yourself and try and be a part of the team and try and do these guys justice. Yeah, there's pressure and stuff like that because, you know, you've got to, you know, make your days and there's a lot to do and not all the money in the world and not all the time in the world. So, you know, there's pressure there, but there's nothing like going to war. You know, and especially when you got these boys that went and, you know, we might be in the mud and in the rain and rolling around on our stomachs and going, oh, this is pretty tough. And then you look over them and they go, oh, we're not getting shot at. And you go, that puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
This is one of the best experiences I've ever had on a film. Being home, the crew, the story that we were telling, everybody's such good blokes. There's no egos. Yeah. And it's just such an important story, you know. It actually, you know, movies are, you know, a lot of bullshit, you know. but when it comes to true stories and that, it's a bit more meaningful than going to do a normal movie.
Yeah, and working in Australia on this stuff, you know, it's no nonsense. You know,
we both want to work in Australia.
All the time, yes.
We want to work in Australia. Please give us jobs.
Write awesome Australian scripts and bring us back home so we can work here for the rest of our lives.
No, I never wanted to do it. Just sort of fell into it, travelling, and was in LA for a while with friends, and just needed a job, buddy.
Yeah. What about you, Luke? Was that always a dream?
No, not at all.
You never sung in front of your parents?
No, I didn't.
As a little kid?
No, not my thing.
Yeah.
I was far from that. No, I fell into it as well. As soon as Trav, someone I went to school with, was in the industry and kind of asked me to try out for something, and that's kind of how it started for me. I thought,
trying to avoid a real job.
Yeah, exactly. I got this. I went, this beats a real job.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.